Going live. All right, if we sit back, this is always the fun part, right? Making sure that we got the framing set up. We need to like tape lines and stuff, like all over the couch on the wall, so we know where to sit. Put marks on the table so we know where it's going on the table.
Why is it not? Okay, wait. I press that. Oh, there it is. Live every time. There you go. How do I forget where that is? Every single time.
Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Sunday morning. We are a day late, but not $1 short.
We're not a day late. We're always either Saturday or Sunday.
We're always either Saturday or Sunday. It's going to be one of these days.
This is why we don't schedule these things in advance. Because life.
Yeah.
Why did we not do it yesterday?
I don't remember why we didn't do it yesterday.
You had a busy day of calls.
I had 3 hours of interviews yesterday.
The interviews.
What's up, Deb? Yesterday was, so I am a little bit about me. I am getting back into interviewing people this year. So I took pretty much all year off. Most of all year? Pretty much all year. Last year, I didn't interview really anybody last year. I did Kelly.
You did interviews on other people's.
I was on other people's, but I didn't interview people on my channel.
Took a little hiatus.
So this year, with some clarity in my message, trying to tie a lot of my content into where the next book is going and the direction that's going to be. I want to start across all the platforms, start talking about the message. Which you'll start noticing.
A very exciting new book.
If you haven't seen some of the stuff I've been posting on Instagram or YouTube, you'll start seeing what that message is as you continue watching and telling other people about it. Because I'm assuming that if you're watching us, you're telling people that they should be watching us.
Our topic today ties in quite nicely with your book.
It does. It really does. I mean, the cool thing about it is everything can tie in because it's really such a key concept.
Yeah.
That it's awesome. So I did some interviews yesterday. I interviewed Serena
Carnivore.
Carnivore Revolution. I interviewed Coach Steven.
The
UK Carnivore.
This week, yeah.
Yesterday.
That was yesterday?
Yesterday.
Oh, wow.
And I interviewed Caroline Labouche.
Okay.
Who I've never heard of her before. She contacted me like a month ago. I did an interview. We did a live on her Instagram a few weeks ago. She is turning 60 this year.
Ooh.
She lives in Dubai.
Okay.
She is a model for Vogue.
What? Shut up.
At 60 years old. She got into modeling.
I love that.
She got into modeling in her 50s.
Just send me her info.
Yeah. She's really cool. She's an ultra runner. She started modeling in her 50s.
Jeez.
She follows an animal-based whole food diet.
Wow. Okay.
She lives in Dubai and whatever. It's cool.
Okay.
Her mission is really cool. Her passion is like on the interview, when you guys watch the interview when it comes out on YouTube, she says multiple times, like when we're in our 50s and 60s, that's midlife.
Yeah,
like she's tried to push that message home. She's like, 50 is midlife. You are not over the hill. You're not at the end yet.
Yes.
You still have so much more to go.
Oh my gosh, how perfect.
Right?
Today I'm wearing my Older Than Google.
I was like, why are you showing your boobs? Like you sat up all of a sudden, you're like, ooh, look.
Older Than Google, Stronger Than Wi-Fi. This is from Old Lady Gains.
Yep.
I promote them all the time. I'm not sponsored and I don't have a code, unfortunately, but they always run some kind of cool sale usually. And they're all about it. Super women at any age.
Yep.
My passion. So.
You got people's on.
I got my glasses. Is on. Okay. Cool. Got some.
Let's see here.
Got some fans.
And in case you haven't noticed on a YouTube channel, we're trying to make this a little bit more official of the thing. So I spent this morning and made a little thumbnail.
Cute little thumbnail of us.
I'm wondering, does it matter to you guys? Here's a question. If you could comment on here. When you look at thumbnails on YouTube channels, for a regular occurring series like this, we keep doing this.
Yeah.
I made one thumbnail. I just put it on all of them, right? In the title, I'm just doing episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, like that. is it more engaging or more attracting to have a topic in the thumbnail?
I think so. That's what I
Or
would
just to
probably
have,
look
like,
for.
this is a recurring thing that you want to watch? Or like, how much more should I put in the thumbnail or the title? Should I change the title to just, instead of just being episode 1, Coach Talk with Coach Bronson, Coach Nat, to the eye-catching, like, engaging
Whatever
thing,
that
whatever,
particular topic,
and then the
yeah.
playlist is just coffee talk? And then should I change the thumbnail to match the title too? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how
Yeah.
much
I mean, you guys
complexity
saw
should I
us,
go with that?
but I will say, so the way I've been doing it on my Instagram,
Yeah.
I'll put coffee talk with us, and then I'll put a little bullet points of what the main.
Well, I plan on
topics
doing
are
that in the
in the
description.
description. But
Right.
I think having something in the title that speaks to a particular thing we talked about, that's probably the most helpful for people beyond like the banter, right? Like,
Okay.
you're going to get banter on these kinds of things, but I think if somebody knows we're going to talk about hormones, that would be
Like,
important.
what's the main
Right.
one or two? Okay. In the title.
One of the big takeaways from the
and then something in the thumbnail. Should I leave the thumbnail the same or just put it in the title?
You guys tell us about thumbnail versus title.
I mean, definitely I can put
Yeah.
it in the title. If the
I think-
playlist is the coffee talk, then I can just make the title whatever.
I would say as a viewer of YouTube content, when I see it in the title, it grabs my attention. I mean,
More
when I
than
see it in
in
the
the thumbnail.
In the thumbnail. Yeah.
Okay.
Because people are visual.
Okay.
So
right.
that's what I think.
Deb
But
said
you
no
guys-
marketing hoopla. She said the episode and the title, no marketing hoopla.
Okay.
Or episode number and topic. It helps when looking back to rewatch. I don't remember the episode.
Right.
Right.
Right. If you're trying
absolutely.
to find a topic.
Yeah.
Right.
Man, these glasses, I love having glasses.
And I think too, like
Can read
when
that
you're
word.
part of our crew, right? You just want to tune in and see what we're talking about each time. But people who may not be familiar with us, who run across it,
Right.
it would be more helpful to have
Right.
topics than just.
That's true.
Why
That's
do I
true.
want
So
to
it's for
randomly
new,
listen to these people?
why do I randomly? Okay, that's okay. All right, that's a good point. All right, so I guess I know what I'll be working on today. Individual thumbnails, and I have to find. Here's another challenge. I had an app that I showed you a couple months ago. That was a plug-in to ChatGPT that you could put the YouTube video in. It would pull the transcript and do summary bullets and all that other kind of stuff. I have no idea where it went.
The same one you told me about that
Yeah.
I put. Yeah, it's
I have no idea where it went.
something has changed with it.
So I tried to find another one that doesn't work half as well. And so part of what I'm going to do today is researching which AI tools to use, because being able to pull the transcript, get the top 8 bullet points with timestamps and put that stuff in there is super helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I can also, that'll give me instead of having to watch the whole video 45 minutes or an hour ago, what did we talk about on here?
Timestamps is amazing.
And then I can just see that. And then that gives me what the topic is for the
So
title
much
and everything.
better.
So
Yep.
that's what I'll be doing today.
Fun times, projects.
Yeah. I got to do that for my videos too. So yes, spending a lot more time in the video editing room now, doing that kind of stuff. That's one of the reasons why I didn't do it last year.
Because it's time
It's
consuming.
time consuming
Yeah.
to sit there and do it. Now, I don't do a lot of video editing. I know people who they'll do one video and spend 4 days
Yeah.
editing and cleaning up and doing sound tuning and I don't even know what all the stuff is.
I've done
It's like,
zero editing on any of
good
my
grief.
videos ever.
I tell people when I do an interview, before I hit record, I say, there's no
It's
editing.
one take, baby.
This is one take. I say, if you burp in the middle of a sentence, it's going to stay in there. Stay in there.
If you
have
don't
to
want it shown, don't say it.
get up and go to the bathroom, I'll sit there and talk until
Mind
you
your
get back.
words.
Whatever. Like, it's not, until I can afford to hire somebody to do that kind of stuff. Nope.
So we
you
have
have a topic that you got asked.
I have an incredible topic today that I think is going to resonate with so many of you. I'm not going to call her out by name, but I got a DM and it was powerful. And I think we're just going to read the question the way she wrote it, and then her follow-up.
Okay.
Because I told her we would talk about it on today's chat.
So there's two parts to this. We have the question and then the follow-up. So she's wrote to Nat. She said, I've been watching your videos, but what about if you have the opposite problem?
I think she's talking about my binge videos, overeating, that kind of thing.
If you are terrified of gaining weight and scared of food.
Food fear.
Okay. Do you have any videos on that? We will in about a minute.
Yeah, I haven't done a masterclass specifically on that. And actually, I'm going to be adding that to the masterclass list. But in the meantime, I told her we'd chat about it today because I mentioned it to him and he was like, let's talk about that on Coffee Talk.
Yeah, that's a great
I hear that a lot too.
Yep.
So this is the piece, I think, the rest of her question or the rest of her context is going to like ring off all the bells in your heads because I'm sure a lot of you have gone through this as well.
I already do keto, but just if I eat more than 800 calories a day, I start gaining weight and I just freak out and go back to very little calories. I'm sure this has to be a hard thing for others. Instead of trying to lose weight, being okay with gaining weight to be more healthy overall. I also already weight lift heavy and exercise 6 days a week. All right.
So the main topic at hand is the whole eat less, move more. And probably I would guess if you're eating less than 800 calories a day,
so many
probably
things.
there's a lot of fasting going on, I would imagine. Keto.
Well, first take, 800 calories a day, even if you're getting 800 calories a day, you're still basically fasting.
Yes, right.
Right? From a nutrient intake perspective, you may not be fasted in a fasted state, but from a nutrient intake perspective, you're not getting anything.
You're malnourished.
You're malnourished. You're undernourished.
Yep. So here's the thing. I think this topic in particular, what's amazing is that she recognizes that what she's doing is not a good idea.
Yes.
That it's not healthy. It's not sustainable long term. She's already aware of that, right? So this is not going to be about teaching you that you need to let go of or why it's important to eat more and all of that. It sounds like she understands that concept, but she has a lot of fear.
How do you let go? How do you make the change to
taking that step? And how do I allow? Now, I think for one thing, my masterclass last Monday, I don't know if she saw that or not, will definitely be a piece of this puzzle of, I talked about the scale and scale obsession. And while it relates to weight loss, it very much relates to this topic.
Sure.
Being afraid of seeing the scale go up, because she mentioned that, right? I gain weight as soon as I eat a little bit over 800 calories. So you're likely looking at the scale and making that mean something. So in that case, I would say watch that masterclass, and there's likely going to be a lot of nuggets in there for you about the scale is not the problem, just like the diet is not the problem, so to speak. It's the way you feel about it.
The way you think and feel about it.
Yeah.
And just to touch on that, this is going to be a little logic we're going to throw in. I know, and this is the challenge we have as coaches. A lot of the issues that we deal with have logical solutions, but the problems that are emotional. The problems, the reason you're having a problem is because you're looking at it emotionally, not logically. But we're going to start the baseline of throw in a little logic, and then we can work from there and make the connections. You guys know I love my car analogies.
Yes, he does.
Okay. Does the mileage that you get out of your car tell you how well your car is working? If I put in 10 gallons of gas and I can go 100 miles, that may give me an indicator that there's something going on, but can I tell if it's my transmission or my engine or my brakes or my tires or my headlights or my seatbelt? Who knows what are the different things that are in my car? Just because I'm getting good gas mileage or bad gas mileage doesn't tell me anything about how my car is working or what I can do with my car. Is my car good on the highway or is my car better off-road?
Okay.
My tires determine that. The engine I have, the level, how high my car is off the ground. If I have a low rider, I'm not taking that thing off-road. Right? So
Okay.
the physical aspects and all the different things that go into what your car is and how it works have nothing to do with mileage.
Your body is your car. Right?
Your body is your car. Looking at your weight is the same thing. As if you're looking at your weight, trying to say, my weight is this, so that means this. Well, no, it doesn't. Not anymore, not any differently than your mileage does for your car. So looking at one thing, and this is what you talked about in your masterclass a little bit, I think, looking at one thing can't tell you everything.
Right.
You have to look at a whole bunch of different
And
things.
that was one of the takeaways from the masterclass was if you start looking at more variables than just
Right.
your weight, then you have, now the scale doesn't hold so much weight.
I think you said that in your masterclass.
I did, because that's exactly
that when I
it.
played
We're putting
puns?
all of our eggs in one basket. We're like, whatever this scale says is about whether or not I'm making progress. It's about whether or not
Right.
I'm moving in the direction I want to move in. If you start spreading those eggs out and saying, okay, there's all these baskets now.
Yep.
I'm looking at my measurements. I'm looking at my strength in the gym. I'm looking at my energy day to day. I'm looking at my mood, all of the biofeedback markers that I have.
I'm getting off of medications. I'm getting my skin conditions healed. I talked to Leanne Vogel. She's another one I did. I'm getting my period back. Like
Oh my gosh,
all of this,
Leanne
all
is
the different
amazing
things,
for that,
right?
yeah.
I mean,
Right. What are all the other things? So now everything's not all about the scale. The scale is one of many.
Yep.
We don't throw it out. It's still a marker. It's still telling us something, but it's not telling us nearly even a fraction of the picture. So
No.
that's one of the big practical, logical
Right.
things you can do is start looking at more
and the
variables.
more you can remind yourself that there's more to it than how much you weigh, the I won't say easier, but you're building a habit.
Yeah.
It's a thought pattern. You have to reestablish that thought pattern consistently. So the more you do that, I mean, I guess it is easier. It becomes easier over time as you start looking at these other things. So I like how you said that. That's the practical thing. The best thing you can do on a day-to-day basis to get out of this train of thought is to, and I get a piece of paper, write down all of this. So we talked about this, your KPIs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Write down what is your goal. My goal is X, Y, or Z. These are the 3 things that I want to do over the next 12 months. Write down all of the things, all of the metrics or key performance indicators for you business folks, all of the things that you have that are going on in your life about you, your life, your health, your fitness, your blood work, your mental health, your sleep, whatever, that have to do with tracking if you're getting to that goal. Right? If your goal is, I want to be able to go do yard work every weekend and not feel like crap, then what are the metrics you need to measure for that to happen? Yep. Right? Your weight probably isn't as big of a piece in that puzzle. Your strength, your flexibility, how much energy you have.
Here's a little bridge. If you are one of those people who have just been so focused on weight loss, that's your end all be all, that's your whole point and whole purpose for doing this. It's always just been about weight loss. Mm-hmm. Because for them, it's hard, right? What else do I even want?
What else?
Right?
Yep.
So a good little exercise you can do to make that bridge is, okay, if and when, mm-hmm. when I hit my weight loss goal, and it's okay if that's all you have right now, you just have a 20-pound loss you want or whatever.
Yep.
When I hit that, what else is going to happen that's good?
Right.
What are all of the other things that will come with it?
Make?
How will it, it's what you always say.
How
will it change my life?
Right.
How will it improve my life? When I lose 20 pounds, then what? What are all the other benefits I'm going to get with that? And then brainstorm. It's kind of like the why do I want to lose 20 pounds? It's kind of like the next level of why. Mm-hmm. Well, if I want to lose 20 pounds, not just so I look better, my clothes fit better, all those, but those are good things that now can become indicators
benefits,
as well.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Those are indicators. If my clothes fit better, maybe my clothes fit better. I got the little things up again. If my clothes fit better, but I haven't lost weight on the scale, oh, well, part of why I wanted to lose weight on the scale was for my clothes to fit better.
Right.
So if my clothes are fitting better, but the scale hasn't moved, Maybe I don't have to care so much about
I can
the
still
scale.
check that thing off the list,
Yes.
right?
So put a list of all the things that you believe are related to that weight loss you want.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to start finding that list of all your other KPIs.
Of the other things, right? So, and that's the thing. Once you get that list, the practical exercise is to every day look at that list.
Start looking at that list and
Every
not just
single
the
day
number on
and
the
not
scale.
just the scale.
Yeah, that'll be a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And then that practical piece ties into the why you believe that what you're doing is not good for you, healthy for you, right? There's a part of you that knows I need to be eating more. So when you start tracking those KPIs and you start connecting them with eating more, you will start to naturally, that emotional part will start calming down. When you can start making those connections. You talked about that.
Yeah.
Make the connections, make these KPIs as close to your why as possible.
Mm-hmm.
When you're like, oh, eating more allows me to have better energy. That allows me to perform better in the gym. I'm exercising 6 days a week. I want to feel good when I'm exercising 6 days a week.
Right
now, if you're only eating 800 calories a day or less, you probably feel like garbage trying to train that often.
Yeah. And the KPIs, here's the other aspect of it that we're going to go in. It's almost circular. The KPIs help you decide things you're going to do. Oh, well, if I want to build muscle because I know that's what I need to do. Yes, I need to eat more, but also I probably need to improve my sleep. Oh, well, I'm improving my sleep. That's something else I can track. Has my sleep gotten better?
Yes.
So now it's not only something that you can do, but it's also an additional thing that you can track. You can add to the list. So they support each other in that process. But it all goes back to, what are you really trying to do? And understanding that what you're really trying to do, and you guys have heard me say this a billion times, nobody wakes up in the morning one day out of the blue and just says, oh, I need to lose 50 pounds. There's something in your life that is affecting your ability to function, your ability to live, how you think about yourself, the quality of life that you have, your physical independence. Something is impacting you negatively that you have then said, oh, it must be because of the weight. So we need to detach from that and start understanding that the weight, small portion. I'm not going to say it's inconsequential, right? Because technically there is an aspect that it can play a role, but it's a lot bigger than the weight.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things you can do that the weight being the focus is why you're stuck now, because you're not actually trying to figure out what's really going on.
Yep.
So
let's see. Let's think about some other takeaways for how you can start to shift the mindset, right? Of that fear of putting more food into your body.
Find, follow, and get as much social proof as you possibly can.
I was about to go there.
Okay? Community, and then other people who are doing it, not just saying it.
Right, living it.
So follow me, follow Nat. You're already doing that. You're on the right track. Right?
I'm in the middle of a very long off season.
Right.
Putting on weight, putting on some body fat because I had to because I was really lean. And then putting on muscle, like working toward putting on muscle, working toward getting my calories up. My calories are higher than they've ever been before. 5'0", okay? Barely, 4'11", 3/4, right? I started out years back, 1,400 calories, probably at the highest.
When you first decided, hey, I want to do something about my health and fitness.
Oh gosh.
How much do you weigh now compared to then? You're like 10 pounds, 15 pounds heavier?
No, I'm
because
probably
you were
about
at like
the same.
you were at like 109 or something once.
Well, at one point, no, that was after I lost 30 pounds.
Okay.
So I started out, but this is a perfect example of recomp, right? We always talk about recomp. But when we say we want to lose weight, we don't want to cut off a limb so we can be 20 pounds lighter, right? We want to lose body fat, and we want a good shape. We want we want to feel proud of the shape of our bodies. And I always like to say to my ladies, vanity is perfectly okay as a goal, because I think there's so much out there of you shouldn't want to look better. Looking better is not enough of a reason. Right. You need a why deeper than looking better. Well, Yes,
if that's what gets you started,
there are
then get
deeper
it going.
whys,
Like,
right?
yeah.
And when you struggle on the journey, that's when I would say, let's go into some of those deeper whys, because maybe it's not deep enough to keep you going through the trenches. But it's perfectly okay to want to feel and look better in your body. It is okay to want aesthetic goals. So I'm always shouting that from the rooftops. It's okay, right? But in wanting that, all 100% of the women who come to me don't just want to be a smaller version of their flabby selves. They want to lose the fat, and they want to be shapely and toned and look good and feel better after they've lost the weight.
You just said something that I don't know if it was somebody I interviewed yesterday. I don't remember who I said it, but I've heard this before, and it just hits me every single time. Particularly the women. The obsession with being small makes yourself less. If you are not willing to be yourself, to feel empowered, and to live to your full potential, then you will be obsessed with being small.
Smaller, yes. Shrinking
Allowing yourself to grow and fill the room with who you are as a person, that is what this process should be about.
I just filled my shirt with coffee.
Right?
Take up space.
Take up all your space.
There is an overwhelming fear it goes across everything in life with women of not taking up space, being afraid to take up space, being afraid to speak and show up and be present, and just goes so deeper than that.
She's 4'11" and 3/4, guys. If you've ever been in a room with her, does she fill the room, or does she hide in a corner?
I don't hide anymore, but I did for a long time. And this is the point you were making.
Right.
When I started on my journey, I was about 130 pounds at my heaviest, somewhere around there. And I lost 30 pounds, over 30 pounds, because I ended up under 100 pounds at one point. I was tiny. I'm sure if I looked back, I don't think I was even tracking macros or calories yet at that point in time. God only knows what I was eating. I was probably barely eating anything, because I do remember not that long after that, when I started competing, even at the start of a prep, I would be at 1,400 calories. I would cut down under 900 calories to get to a show.
I can't imagine eating that little.
And my protein, I looked back not that long ago, maybe when I did my last prep, I looked back to see, well, what did I used to eat on a prep? My protein wasn't even 100 grams a day. And so that was, in a prep, I'd be at 1,200, 1,100, under 1,000 calories. In my off season, I would barely maybe get up to 1,400, maybe 1,500 tops. Yesterday, I ate 2,100. I'm basically living now at my maintenance, easily maintaining, by the way, not struggling, not stuffing my face, easily maintaining between 1,900 and 2,100 calories a day, 5 foot tall. 25% body fat, which I'm perfectly comfortable at, and I certainly wasn't. I think what she's talking about too is very real, because we're so afraid of putting any body fat on. Even when I was right out of my show lean, it was like, I'd love to just stay here. But I knew that wasn't healthy, right?
So that's another, I want to interject. That's another aspect. I don't want anybody to think that this isn't an issue for us, right? We understand where she's coming from, because this is stuff that we deal with as well. Yes, there are times where I worry about overeating. What did I tell you? It was like 2 weeks ago. I'm sitting on the bed, getting up in the morning, and I was like, I don't like this.
Yep.
And she's like, what do you mean? She's like, what do you mean? I was like, I don't like the body fat percentage I'm at right now. I want to be unhealthy lean.
And I was like, I feel ya.
I really would like to, literally, and this is the knowledge and the awareness. I'm feeling some kind of way right now about my body fat percentage, and I would feel better about how I look if I was at an unhealthy level of leanness.
Yep.
Now, that's how I was feeling. Knowing that I'm at a perfect, and I told her, I think I even told you, I said, I'm at 15 or 16%, well below average, perfectly healthy. There's nothing wrong with it. But I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, man, I don't like all this this little stuff hanging and a little roundness and fluffy. Like, I don't like it. But I'm okay with it once I take the time to think about where that's coming from. Understand that I know it's not healthy. I understand that it's not really my goals right now. My goals are functional. We talked about that. For the past year and a half, my goal has been I want to try to gain muscle. I want to try to look as ripped as possible, all these types of things. I played around with a bunch of different stuff, had a blast with that. Now I'm moving back into being more functional, and the leanness of my body doesn't matter as much.
Yep.
But it's a headspace thing.
Yep.
Right? So getting back into that headspace, so that's not the focus right now. My focus is on how well can I move and maintain myself as I get older.
And here's
that's
another really important piece to this. He just got his blood work done. I've been getting mine done every 3 months. Sometimes it was like just last month, just every 1 to 2 months on certain markers, because I'm trying to optimize my hormones.
Yep.
And optimize pretty much all my blood work. And most of it is optimized except for a couple of markers, important markers, testosterone and iron, right? A freaking carnivore. Like, those two things should be perfectly fine. So it's like, could I go on a cut? Could I have gone on a cut any time over this last year because I didn't like how fluffy I felt? We use that term a lot. Putting on some extra body fat. By the way, ladies, these numbers are very arbitrary. So if you're like, I want to be 12%, I want to be 15%, it means different things based on where you got your testing done. When you're seeing numbers about what other people are putting out there about what their body fat percentage is, that doesn't mean anything for you. And it doesn't mean anything for your body composition because you don't know all of the details of their muscle mass and their actual number in pounds of body fat they have on their body and their height and all these other things. And where they get the testing done. It could be a bunch of different testing measures and you're chasing after all these testing measures to get a body fat percentage you want to hear that has nothing to do with what your body actually looks and feels like and moves like and all of that.
Yep.
So anyway, I say all this to say 25% is perfectly healthy for women.
Oh.
And depending on where you're getting your body composition done, I'm 25% on in-body. On a DEXA right now, I'm like 27, 28%. So that may sound high to some people. I'm thriving right now. My blood work is better than ever. We're getting things back to where we want them to be. So if you have not done blood work in a while or ever, if you haven't looked at your vitamin and your mineral levels, because I do regular blood work, I've never gotten a comprehensive vitamin and mineral analysis. I'm getting ready to. I just ordered it. It's on its way here, and I can't wait to finally do that testing because I've gotten sick quite a few times this year. It hasn't happened that way since before I went paleo. I used to get chronic sinus infections for years before I changed my diet and my lifestyle. Ever since I've never gotten sick this often. This year, this is like the third time, fourth time in the last year.
Maybe it's the air in here. I don't know.
Something is off. So I'm wondering what else is going on because I'm eating more nutrition than ever. And this is another topic near and dear to your heart. Macros and calories are not nutrition. They're a part of it, but nutrition is about micronutrition. It's about what are we getting from the food we're eating that our bodies need to thrive. And that's the micronutrition, that's the vitamins and minerals that we're getting from our food. And what our bodies, whether or not our bodies can assimilate that. So the fact that I'm eating a highly bioavailable nutrient-dense diet and there's still things off with my blood work, the last thing I need to do right now is cut down on how much nutrition I'm getting. I need to optimize my body and figure out what's going on with my body, that it's not assimilating those things the way it should. So the main thing I need to do right now is not start cutting calories and macros because now I'm not going to be able to put as much nutrients into my body. So that is another thing you can look at is your blood work, your health markers, the things that tell you whether or not you are optimally healthy beyond physique, body composition. Look at all of those because if you are malnourished, it will show up in your blood work.
Yep.
Especially if you've been that way for quite some time. So if you're living on very little nutrition, very little calories, meaning not a lot of food, not a lot of nutrients coming in, and God only knows, I don't know what you're eating to get to that 800 calories, but if you're doing PSMF, we've talked about this before, if you're doing all of these keto-fied things, and it's not putting nutrition in your body, right? If you're not eating, maybe if you're getting a ribeye and that's all you're getting in your 800 calories, you're getting some kind of nutrition, but it's still not going to be nearly as much as what your
You
body
still need
needs.
more. And
that'll show up on your blood work.
We've had so many people that we've worked with, and ladies particular. This person said that they work out 6 days a week. I would hazard a guess that 4 days a week would do her better. And the type of she said she's doing heavy lifting. That's awesome. Yep. But I would hazard a guess that 4 days a week would do her better. The things about the actions that she's taking are all about weight loss and staying small. Okay, I'm working out 6 days a week because I think in my head that the more I work out, the better I'll look, the smaller I'll be. I won't gain weight. Exercise is not a weight control measure. Exercise is an improvement of functional ability. Okay, when you do that, the rest will take care of itself. Nutrition, you have to eat more to get the support that your body needs. Same with exercise. Okay.
And they support one another.
So if you're exercising 6 days a week and you're only getting 800 calories, it's a double negative there. You're stacking negatives, not stacking positives.
And you're not recovering from that heavy lifting you're doing. So I would guess that probably 3 days a week she might be heavy lifting, and 3 days a week she's probably doing cardio.
Potentially.
Right? Yeah. We don't know. But even if you were lifting heavy 6 days a week, first of all, if you're lifting heavy 6 days a week, you're not going to be properly recovering from that lifting. Even if you were eating enough, without eating enough, there's no possible way you're going to be gaining muscle from that activity. Because when we train, even heavy, especially heavy, we're breaking the muscle down. The recovery is where we build the muscle up. So you are not building if you're not recovering.
So this is something we see a lot with people too, is the internal cognitive dissonance.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm afraid to eat more protein, because I'm afraid of gaining weight, but I'm heavy lifting so I can build muscle.
And you're not going to do it without the protein.
Those two things are opposite each other. You're working against yourself at that point. So which one is it? Either you want to build muscle or you want to stay small. If you want to build muscle and you're lifting heavy, then you need to eat more to make that happen.
You know what you inspired? I need to do a post this week of the difference in all of my shows. And how my body progressed over the years, and talk about how that progression didn't happen from dieting.
Oh,
right? It wasn't the prep.
You can't grow.
It wasn't the prep that got me the results. Mm-hmm. All of the results I've gotten since the 9 years that I started training all happened when I was eating more in the off season. When I was training and eating more in the off season. If I had just continuously competed all those years and continuously stayed lean, and I was triggered the other day by a couple of posts I saw on a particular profile. She's carnivore, great. She's crazy lean. And not only that, but talking about how she was once inflamed and overweight and showed a before and after. And it's so funny.
Before was like, that was overweight.
You know what's crazy to me is that not that many years ago, I would have done a post like that. Mm-hmm. And people would have been telling me in the comments, you looked better before. I like both pictures. And I would have been offended by those comments. And I'm sure that she gets offended by comments like that. And of course, I'm not the person that's going to go on anybody's page and be negative. But I looked at that and it hurt my heart. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, I get that deeply. I've been there.
Yeah.
But she really did look better in the before picture.
Yeah.
And I understand the inflammation piece, of course, but she's just staying too lean right now.
Yeah, and we work with a lot of women who are obsessed. And so understand where we're coming from. This isn't just this one question. This is one question that was sent to Nat in the DM that we deal with on a consistent basis. This type of scenario where we have women.
This is harder. Let's be real. Like, give yourself credit and don't beat yourself up over this if you're struggling with this, because this is 10 times harder than struggling to lose weight and struggling to go through that weight loss process. It is a lot harder to go through a reverse dieting process. And any of my ladies out there who have done it can attest to this. And those who are doing it right now, I will just applaud you till the cows come home, because it is a lot bigger of a mind F than cutting.
Yeah. Well, because it's the opposite mentality of what we've been told. When I'm trying to lose, when you're trying to lose weight, get in shape, improve your health and fitness, whatever, we have an understanding that I have to restrict things, I have to moderate things, I have to make changes and cut things out and stop doing this and stop doing that. We could get into a real deep philosophical discussion here about the mindset of improvement, and we talked about filling the room and empowering yourself. People are not, the idea of making yourself better, unfortunately, in society is not emphasized, supported, and talked about enough. Remember 10, 15 years ago, if you had told somebody that you had bought Start With Why or Atomic Habits, or that you were in the self-help section of a bookstore, people would have looked at you like, what's wrong with you? Right? Self-help 15, 20 years ago was 30 years ago, I'm showing my age now. Self-help, the idea of a self-help, when I was in my 20s and 30s, my late 20s, early 30s, and I was introduced to Dale Carnegie and Les Brown and Zig Ziglar. Right? And I'm watching and I'm listening to these guys, their books, and reading their books and watching some of their tapes and things like that. I was an outlier. There was none of that stuff out there.
Yeah.
The whole process of self-improvement is only a 15, 20-year phenomenon.
Pretty new age, yeah.
Right? Where people are like, it's okay to
want to be better.
It's okay to get a therapist. It's okay to do these things to try to make myself a better person.
Oh my gosh, you're right. You're so right. Yeah.
Right? So the idea that I have to do more to become better, and like, it's just so the antithesis of anything that we in society we think. Whenever, and this, we see this with family and friends, right? You go try to do something better. What does everybody try to do?
Crabs in a barrel.
Pull you down, right? So this, the whole idea of the internal conflict we have within ourselves, that it's okay for me to do this for myself, that I can eat more, I can improve my physical ability, I can be more. I love what you said. I can fill up a room and not be ashamed. All of that stuff is just so different than what we've been. It's just such a whole different concept. So.
And on the health and fitness side, that we've never been, this is a brand new concept that I'm thrilled is now out there, but it's brand new for women to build muscle, to create a shapely physique.
Right.
I'm thrilled for this Instagram model generation, because women are actually starting to aspire to have big butts and big legs and
shoulders and
muscles,
arms.
It was never celebrated before. High schools now have weightlifting programs for girls. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, it's amazing that this is happening today. Yeah. And so I'm thrilled for that, but it's still a very new concept, and especially for ladies over 30, over 40, over 50, who never got this messaging growing up.
And this is a little plug for me.
Go for it. Oh,
you know, I don't know if you know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going.
This is a plug. And this, I think, in the last 5 years, I'm not going to say 10 years, but it's been around since the early 2000s. But in the last 5 years, the impact and the growth and the size of the CrossFit community, I think, is where a lot of that comes from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know you were going there.
CrossFit is the largest fitness program in the world. There are over 15,000 gyms all over the world that are CrossFit gyms, right? So that means 15,000 gyms, the average gym has 150 to 200 members. Okay, there are millions of people in the world right now that are doing CrossFit. CrossFit is the only fitness program that the number one focus is on function.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
It's not aesthetic. It's about what can you do, and it's for people who are. They've got kids CrossFit, they've got elderly CrossFit, they've got everything in between. And that is where a lot of
if you look at the physiques, the CrossFit physiques,
they're jacked.
These women, especially, like, to see these women with traps and like thick waist, but like big six packs. Right. So it changed, although it's not an aesthetic sport, the aesthetic of the sport started to really, I do think impacted the image of a female athlete.
100%.
And that some women, not all, a lot still struggle with not wanting to look like that, but a lot actually wanted to aspire to that.
Yeah.
And it gave them something else to aspire to.
Well, because you see what you see with social media with CrossFit particularly, or functional fitness, because it's not even CrossFit now. There's so many copies of that, right? Gold's Gym has a copy. Like there's so many different F45 came out now. Like there's so many different copies, but it's all based on function. Is you see particularly women who've been doing it. I know hundreds of women who have been doing CrossFit for 10 years. Now they have kids. Now their girls are starting at 5 years old, learning how to do cleans and stuff,
those are the coolest videos.
And those little girls are growing up, and now you see
these
these girls in their teens or their early 20s, and they're doing all this stuff, and it just becomes a generational thing now that I think I absolutely love it.
Now I'm going to play devil's advocate and say, now this is a double-edged sword, but female bodybuilding didn't even exist probably 30 years ago, 20 years ago. It started with bikini, and bikini was just looking good in a bikini like you would on the beach. It really, when the division started in bodybuilding, women's bikini, I don't even know what they called it back then. I think they might have called it figure. I don't even remember what the original was, but it was a one-piece bikini. It was like,
I don't really know the history of it.
It really didn't have the definition. So now when you see the women in physique competition, whether it's bikini, figure, physique, all of the different categories that, first of all, didn't exist. There was only one category, and it looked like a beach body category. It was like how you would look on the beach, which was not very muscular.
Right.
It was more like, I guess, the supermodels of the time, very slim and soft compared to
they did have
competitors.
I'm thinking back in the 70s. Remember, we've seen some of those old documentaries. In the 60s, in the 70s, they had some. So it must have been like around the 60s when female bodybuilding, maybe 50s
I don't
and
remember
60s.
when it first started.
Was those low cut,
well,
one-piece
cut out
bikinis?
One pieces, yeah. So it was definitely different, and it was just more about, I think, getting on stage. It really wasn't so much about the bodybuilding itself. There were some original pioneers who were straight up bodybuilders. But now the sport has everything from bikini all the way up to women's bodybuilding, which women's bodybuilding takes a little far. But bikini, if you just look at the bikini division and what it looked like 20 years ago and what it looks like now.
Oh, yeah, totally different.
You could not compete in that category. And this is for all the ladies who are out there who say, one day I want to do a bikini competition just to see if I can do it. Most of the time they're saying that because they want to lose fat. If all you do is lose fat and try to get on a stage, you will be laughed off the stage. You'll be up there not feeling like you belong. Like, what the hell am I doing? You're going to just look like Gumby.
You're going to look,
That's a nod to his job, by the way. But you're not going to look.
No one's going to get that.
No, they're not. That was for you. 100% for you. But it's just going to look like skin and bones, or you're going to think you look good until you get on stage with women who are competing in bikini, and they are going to have shoulders, and they are going to have abs, and they're going to have glutes, and they are going to have developed bodies. Yeah. So the sport now, I think, has also had an impact.
Sure.
Now, unfortunately, it also, at the top levels, you get so lean, it is unnatural and unhealthy. But
again,
it's getting
people
muscle,
started, right? It's getting people started.
The look of having muscle.
Yeah. And that's what we see,
and that has shifted the way, another thing of the way women want to look. It's not just about being slim or thin or skinny like it used to be. Now it's more about shapely and toned and having muscle.
We've seen this probably even just in the last 3 years. When we were at Chiseled, right?
We used to go to this bodybuilding powerlifting.
We noticed just in the last few years how the number of young girls are in the gym lifting now, which is more than we've ever seen.
And lifting like for real.
Like more than we've ever seen. So it's definitely, I think definitely the CrossFit type stuff, the bodybuilding stuff.
And
definitely
in the sport of bodybuilding, the wellness category didn't exist 5 years ago. That's brand new. I think it just popped up. 2020 was when it came to the US.
So I think it's moving in a good direction.
And that's the big legs, the bigger, So it has definitely evolved. Bliss says, I like the women. Like the women look like aerobics instructors. Yeah, back in the day, exactly. Wasn't it more fitness? Like they look like a typical 90s, 80s, 90s fitness. Yeah, it has evolved massively over the years. I didn't even look the part when I competed in NPC in 2017. My legs were too big back then. And there was no wellness back then. So there wasn't really anywhere to go.
Your legs are too big?
Not for you. That was a prerequisite, by the way, for the man that I ended up with. He had to be able to appreciate big legs.
Thick thighs save lives.
So going back to the takeaway that started this conversation, maybe change what you're looking at, what you aspire to. Because I talked about this before, and actually I got this question inside the academy was, can I talk a little bit about how my ideal physique for myself shifted and changed over the years? And that could be an hour-long conversation in and of itself. But there's one particular time I've talked about this on some podcast interviews I've done. 2017, when I did that NPC show, and I walked away from that and I didn't feel good about myself. I looked back 6 weeks later at my pictures because I couldn't look at them right after the show. And I said, wow, it's not really that there was anything wrong with my physique. I have more muscular development than the women on that stage. Right. I wasn't in the right category. And I was proud of that because that is not an easy thing to get to. And so I stopped looking at, I changed who I looked at online. I stopped looking at really, really small bikini competitor, thin legs, really lean, really thin women. And I started looking at female physique athletes, female powerlifters, female bodybuilders, and women who had a lot more muscle. And it changed the way of what I even wanted for myself.
Well, this goes into what we talk about in the context of who are you listening to and are they where you want to be? So if you're looking to improve your health, if you're looking to be functional, if you're looking to feel good about yourself, and you understand that muscle is important to that process, are you following people that have those same concepts and same ideals and same principles and are doing the things to make those things a reality in their lives? Right? If you are, then you want to emulate the concepts that they're implementing. You may not do things all exactly the same, but the prioritizing protein, getting good nutrition, getting rest and recovery, taking care of yourself, lifting heavy, eating enough food, all of those things are part of the package, right? That goes into making this, right? So if this is what you want to make.
I haven't trained in 5 days.
Yeah.
Because I got sick 3 days ago, and it's just a head cold kind of a situation. But it was like, oop, my immune system is kicking up. Step away. Mm-hmm. This is not the time to push hard in the gym. Once again, recovery. You know, I talked about eating between 1,900 and 2,100 calories. After being sick for 3 days, not training for 4 days yesterday, I ate 2,100 calories. I ate at the higher level of calories. Why? I was hungry. My body was telling me we need more food. And instead of being like, oh my gosh, I'm not training, this is a big one. What do ladies always say? I'm not working out right now, so I need to eat less. No.
Anybody that tells you to adjust your diet for your workout days or your rest days, tell them to turn around and walk away, or you turn around and walk away.
And I get that question a lot.
No.
Do I need to eat less on the days I'm not training?
No.
Absolutely not.
You need to eat the same or more because that's when your body needs it.
That's usually when my body wants more. So even when I was doing some calorie cycling with an old coach, I most of the time always ate more on my rest days.
Yep.
Because my body was asking for more then because it was trying to recover. And guess what happens when you're sick? When your immune system is up, your metabolism is up. It's not down. Your body actually wants more food most of the time when you're not well. So all that energy that normally you direct to the gym, your body is ramping that energy up in the form of an immune response. And so I ate more yesterday and I was down considerably. I shouldn't even mention it on the scale. I wasn't excited about it. It wasn't like, oh, yay, I'm 2 pounds down on the scale. I'm doing something right. It's like, No, I know my body is
You're just in
using
flux, yeah.
and probably wants more right now because it's doing all of this. I'm hot right now. I'm flushed because my body is trying to get out whatever is going on inside of it.
You are.
It's hot.
We need to hurry up.
Thermogenesis, baby.
We need to hurry up and get this thing over with. We got places to be.
I love it. I love it. Bliss is right there with us.
What'd they say?
I need to turn myself around and walk away. LOL. I'm always hungrier on my rest days, and it took me forever to get that.
Yep.
Heck yeah.
Awesome. All right. So, in summary, we understand the challenge of being hesitant, afraid, scared, not sure how to handle the need to eat more. The practical exercise. What were you going to say?
I got it. This is the big one.
Okay.
When you really feel that fear coming up, I want you to ask yourself this. What is the alternative?
Woo. Yeah.
What is my other option? To just keep eating less until I'm not eating anything?
Yeah.
And that is a good question to ask because when you ask questions, your brain has to answer it and it will get busy answering the question. So don't just make statements to yourself to try to talk yourself off the ledge. Ask yourself questions, logical questions that will move you from the emotional brain to the logical prefrontal cortex. And now you're back in reality and not emotional thinking. So the question is, what is my alternative? I'm afraid to eat 900, 1,000, 1,200 calories, 2,000 calories. I'm afraid, right?
What happens if I keep doing this?
Right.
If I don't eat more, where am I going to be 6 months from now or a year from now if I don't do this?
I'm just going to have to keep adding more exercise until I'm working out 2 times a day, 7 days a week, and eating air. And then what? And then what?
Yeah.
And then your brain will start to answer the question, oh yeah, there is no other alternative. If I actually want to make progress, as scary as this is, I have to take the scary step and move in that direction because I don't have any other option.
Yeah. And this goes into when we talk about fear in general. Fear is a real thing. Don't try to avoid the fear. Try to understand the fear. Okay? You're afraid for a reason. Spend the time, and this is something we've been talking about a lot lately, is that the effort and the skill of practicing and learning how to become self-aware, you need to keep doing that. So asking those questions is part of that. Giving yourself the time to come up with the answer. Being honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. Okay? If you're afraid of this, whatever this is, understand why you're afraid of it. If you can figure that out, it will help you find a way through because you know nothing's going to change if you don't get through this. So just avoiding it,
it's not solving
the problem.
Avoidance is not.
Right? So spend some time and do some of that internal work and figure out why are you so afraid of gaining weight?
That was another big takeaway on the scale masterclass.
Right? Because you're not afraid of eating more. This is the thing.
You're afraid of the weight.
You're not afraid of eating more. You're afraid of what that will do if you do eat more. So what you're saying, this is the cognitive dissonance. I know that I need to eat more to gain muscle and improve my health, but I also know that if I eat more, I'm going to gain weight. Which one of those two is more important to you?
There you go.
Because they're both true. And that's the other thing, is understanding that both of those things are actual facts. Which one is more important to you?
I like to say your triggers are your mirrors. Yeah. When you feel triggered, scared is a big one. Fear is a big trigger. You're being triggered by something. Dive in, lean in. The only way out is through.
Cool. I think we can end on that. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye. That was awesome, babe.